Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Pylon to Pylon podcast, where we love football and hate your opinions. My name is Donnie Drew, and we have a full room today for our special mock draft, and go around and introduce everybody. First up, we have Richie Bradshaw.
Hello, everyone.
All right, we got Skylar Burkhart.
Hey.
And last but certainly probably least, Austin Verzoka.
I am the least. Get it right.
Oh, man. So it's definitely been a minute since we've all jumped on the podcast together. So it's nice to see you guys again. Big episode today. We've been teasing this for a while.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. We've been teasing this episode for a while now. The first mock draft, first PTP mock draft, finally got it out. We did a round robin style where we each, picked a team. We took turns choosing picks for players. I got to play GM for a little bit, so that was fun. So we'll just go around in the draft order, and we'll start everybody to make their pick, give the reasoning, and so on and so forth. Gentlemen, are we ready to start the 2019 NFL draft?
I think we are.
As soon as you let them know what the order is for who's picking who.
Yeah, so it's going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, Austin will be going first, and then it is Skylar?
No, Richie.
Richie.
And then you, and then me.
Myself, and then Skylar.
Idiot.
Probably.
Saving that for last.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Austin Verzoka, you have the number one pick. Go ahead, take it away.
All right, guys. First pick for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm taking Josh Allen, outside linebacker out of Kentucky. Hey, shut up, Skylar. Nobody likes you. Richie, your boos are warranted. Skylar, shut up.
I'm not booing.
Oh, I thought...
I'm clapping.
Who was the second boo? Whoever the second boo was, your boo is warranted.
I'm right here.
Done. But basically, I think that if the Cardinals take Nick Bosa, he's going to be less experienced than Josh Allen in the 3-4 defense. It'd take 2 to 3 years, like Richie has talked about at length on the podcast episode, to get him NFL ready for that position. Cardinals are not in necessarily that long of a rebuild, and I think pairing Allen next to Chandler Jones opposite of him would be perfect.
All right, there you go. So then with the number 2 pick, the San Francisco 49ers are certainly going to be happy right here as Nick Bosa falls right under their laps. And playing off of what Austin said, look, Nick Bosa can stand up. He's athletic enough. Josh Allen can put a hand in the dirt. He's athletic enough. But at the end of the day, these two teams run different schemes, and it just works out perfectly that Allen's a perfect fit for a 3-4. Bosa's a perfect fit for a 4-3. They're both playing edge. They're both going after the quarterback, but they're in their most comfortable spots. And the Niners need Bosa in the worst way possible. This is about as good a scenario as it could go for them.
Yeah, completely agree.
It's an easy pick for them to make. What is it? Maybe give me the 5th defensive line first-round pick or 4th defensive line first-round pick for them?
It'll be the 4th since 2015.
Jesus.
But at least it's finally an edge.
Yes.
Like a true edge. Not a Solomon Thomas edge.
Hey, you leave him alone.
He sucks.
What about Alden Smith?
Wasted talent.
True. There's a bomb.
That was way back in 2011, though, baby. That was like 10 drafts ago.
Oh, he was so good that rookie year.
He was good his whole damn career. He set the record for sacks in the first 2 seasons.
Yes, he did.
All right. With the 3rd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the New York Football Jets will select Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle from Alabama. Jets go best player available in this scenario, and Quinnen Williams definitely fits that mold. Talk about a 3-tech that can rush the passer. I've seen him take on triple teams and still somehow fight and make his way to the ball. You're going to see a lot of things associated with Williams whenever you talk about the draft. One of them is going to be just his high motor, his ability to rush the passer, all of that good stuff. So just stick him in the middle. Let him wreak havoc. Stopping the ball is key for everybody in the AFC East, excluding the Patriots. So, yeah, the Jets go and they get their guy here.
I think a big thing that the NFL is trending towards is interior pressure. With guys like Aaron Donald completely changing up the way that you have to block for these guys, Quinnen Williams is going to revolutionize the way that we view pass rushers, like inside the tackles. Like we thought Ed Oliver was going to be this guy, and quite frankly, I still think he is. But Quinnen Williams and Ed Oliver and Jeffrey Simmons are going to be guys who change the game entirely, because suddenly it's not about getting pressure off the edge anymore. It's, right up the A-gap. The quickest path to the quarterback is right through the center, and a guy like Quinnen Williams is just going to wreak havoc that way.
I love his burst and his hand usage.
I don't think you have very many flaws with him, so...
With the fourth pick in the NFL draft, the Oakland Raiders select edge rusher Rashawn Gary. The Raiders finally get their pass rusher after losing Khalil Mack, and they need it in the worst way after we saw last year. I'm pretty sure their sack numbers were towards the bottom 5 in the league. They just could not get any pressure, and why not add Rashawn Gary, which is going to dominate the outside and really make the quarterback be cautious.
Yeah, Rashawn Gary is going to blow up the combine this week. That guy is the definition of a workout warrior. You're going to see him be talked about as a projection player. He didn't have the stats in college, but it's about what can he do at the next level, and there's not much that he can't do. Especially with the Raiders' 4-3 front, they can legitimately just put him anywhere in that defense and just let him attack.
And touching on the point that Skylar made with them being a bottom 5 team in the pass rush category in sacks, they're actually lowest in the NFL at 14 sacks.
Which Khalil Mack nearly had by himself.
Yes. Anyways, continuing on, with the 5th pick in the NFL draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select cornerback Greedy Williams, LSU. This is something that Tampa Bay defense sorely needs as a pure number 1 corner. Vernon Hargreaves has not been that person outside on the, 2-3 years ago they drafted him first round?
2016.
He's been kind of up and down. He's not been consistent, though.
Well, he's not healthy ever.
I think Greedy goes in this week. He answers the questions about his top end speed and being able to cover at an elite level. I think he solidifies himself as the top corner and a top, in this mock, a top 5 pick.
I think a lot of people just get so drawn up in the speed category and the conversation. The 40 time is completely overrated, but we got to be honest here and sit and think, Jimmy Smith and Richard Sherman, 2 of the best corners in the game, Josh Norman, in their primes, they weren't burners down the field. But because of the hand usage and the technical savviness that they had in their games, they were lockdown corners. And that's what Greedy is. And Greedy's got ball skills, too. He is Richard Sherman without dreads. So I'll go ahead and take us up here now. The New York Football Giants are on the board. And our first quarterback is going to come right off here. And it's going to be
Daniel Jones.
Mike Jones?
Who?
Mike Jones?
Who?
Dwayne Haskins. It's going to be Dwayne Haskins.
Boo.
Quarterback from the Ohio State. Now, guys, I did some digging here, and I found a perfect scouting report to read off of by a man named Stephen A. Smith.
Ooh,
and
good.
According to this, he is a dynamic running quarterback and not a very good passer. So, it's going to totally change up the way that what's that? What's that? He's not a runner?
He averaged 1.9 yards per carry.
This is a bullshit report by Stephen A. Smith.
He's Michael Vick.
Oh, that's my mistake. Oh, well then let's go ahead and flip the script. Dwayne Haskins nearly threw for 5,000 passing yards this year in 14 games and had 50 touchdown passes. He was shattering Drew Brees' passing records in the Big Ten at a school that historically runs the football a lot more at Ohio State. When you look at Beanie Wells, Ezekiel Elliott, Eddie George, all sorts of dynamic runners there.
Beanie Wells, oh God.
Hey, I'm sorry he was a good college back. How about you shove it? Anyways, point being, for Dwayne Haskins to do what he did last year, and it's not that they didn't have talent at the receiver position, because Paris Campbell and Terry McLaurin are going to play at the next level. but he turned them into their best selves, and he truly took that offense to the next level. It's Dwayne Haskins entirely that made Ohio State competitive this year, in my opinion.
All right, there you have it. With the 7th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Kyler Murray, quarterback, Oklahoma.
He's a center fielder from Oklahoma.
They get the next greatest two-sport athlete behind Bo Jackson, Tim Tebow, and Deion Sanders. Kyler Murray, probably one of the most electrifying quarterbacks to ever come out of the college game, at least in the last 10 years or so. A lot of people will say a lot of bad things about him, but what we can promise you is that he's definitely going to go first round. Where in the first round, we're not really sure. He can end up being taken somewhere around 2 or 3. He can end up being taken somewhere in the back. This combine this week, kind of like Richie alluded to with his pick, will tell a lot for teams. Say what you want about the size, but dude, excuse me, he's a video game character playing in real life. He's got a rocket arm. He can make certain throws that other quarterbacks can't. Really, it's just all about his durability and his size and frame. And playing behind the Jacksonville Jaguars line that just can't seem to stay healthy is kind of a concern here. But the Blake Bortles show, the experiment is done in Jacksonville. I think they go with Murray and they pull the trigger moving forward.
Well, they can do a great job building the offense around him. They can grab a couple receivers through this draft, maybe an offensive lineman or two. Free agency can help them out, and a healthy Leonard Fournette's going to be his best friend. But just real quick, Donnie, I know you said that people are going to say bad things about Kyler Murray. I just want to make sure everyone knows I am not one of those people. Not anymore. I am a Kyler Murray truthist.
Why is that, Richie?
Oh, he just made me eat my words. I called him out all offseason long, and he just served it to me on a platter and said, hey, man, this is everything you said about me.
Did he let you know right away, or did he kind of hold you in the balance? Was he not going to serve you? Did he be really just bland in all the interviews? Or
well, he pretty much was. Oh, I see what you did there. No, imagine if a friend of the podcast, Connor Dreos, was your waiter. He's going to come around every 10 minutes or so and be like, hey, do you want me to top off your water? And you're like, yeah, can I also order? And then he walks away. Presumably to get the water, but he doesn't come back for 15 minutes. He fills up your cup and looks and just walks away because at the time you were talking to someone else, and when you look over, bam, he's gone. So every time you think that he's going to serve you, he's just going to tip you off a little bit, just kind of wave at you in the distance, like, hey man, you see me, what are you going to do?
Measure how tall you are.
I'm pretty sure Kyler Murray is taller than you, bud.
Ooh. We don't know that.
To me, it's not even his height that's an issue. I'm more worried about his frame. If he can sustain getting hit at the NFL level by 350-pound defensive linemen.
Did you hear that he's coming in at 206 right now?
I did, but I also don't know if I really believe that that's muscle and something that's going to continue to help him. That's a lot of weight to put on in a short amount of time.
Well, here's my thing with that, and this would be very smart of his agent to be talking to him in his ear, is go to the combine, don't run. We all know how fast you are. We don't need you to run a 4.37 and for us to be like, oh, wow, he's fast. We already know Kyler Murray's fast. Do the weigh-ins. Weigh in at 200 pounds, and then from there out, just drop the weight. Because you know what? You went to the combine, you showed you were over 200, great. You don't need it anymore. Now everyone can look at you and be like, oh, well, he's 5'10", 200 pounds. That's all we need. And that is all you need to sell people sometimes. So just go there, weigh in, don't run, don't worry about it.
All right. With the 8th pick in the NFL draft, the Detroit Lions select defensive lineman Ed Oliver. They really hit home on this pick, in my opinion, just because now they get a dominant force in the defensive line. They really need to get their run-stop game going. And this was a potential number 1 overall pick besides Bosa and Allen, and he slid all the way to 8 for him. So this is really good for the Detroit Lions. There's a lot of need on that defense, and they got to start early with a powerful defensive lineman that's going to cause some disruption, kind of like Aaron Donald in the Los Angeles Rams.
Everyone is overthinking Ed Oliver. This guy is the best player in the draft. This guy can play anywhere on your defense. There's people talking about having him line up at linebacker as an edge rusher. Put him on the defense. Tell him, hey, man, go get the quarterback. and he's going to do it. Yeah, he didn't have the sack production in college, but he had almost 20 TFLs every season, which is pretty damn impressive when he's a probably 6'1", 270-pound defensive lineman playing shade nose tackle. He's incredible. He's a physical specimen. He's going to test out of the roof on the combine.
It's going to be a steal for the Lions.
I think he's going to blow up his stock to be a top 5 pick, like and be in conversation with the 3 consensus top 3 defensive players with Bosa, Allen, and Williams. And I saw the same report that you saw, Richie, that they have him basically anywhere on the defensive front, basically the front 6, not middle linebacker, but he can play outside backer or defensive lineman. And they were even saying that I saw one guy say that he was basically a Julius Peppers, but not 6'7".
At the end of the day, dude, this guy is just going to be so much better than we think. It's like a few years ago in 2016 with Joey Bosa. He ends up going 3rd overall, but throughout the process, we're trying to overthink Joey Bosa. I was very guilty of this. Turns out he's just as good as he was in college. That's going to be Ed Oliver. We're all overthinking this.
Yeah, I wasn't Joey Bosa's fan after his whole contract dispute, but he proved me wrong.
The Chargers front office is pretty shitty.
Yeah, the whole thing with Ed Oliver is that they kind of started with that whole altercation with his coach after, not being able to wear a jacket even though he wasn't playing, all the good stuff. And I feel like just like from there, things kind of went downhill from him. I remember the episodes we did way early in the season where we were almost certain that Oliver would have been the number 1 pick, and now he falls all the way to the bottom of the top 10.
Well, you remember he declared last year before the NFL draft, which was unheard of for a player to do.
Yeah, he declared for 2019 before the 2018 draft started.
And people thought he was stupid for even playing at University of Houston this year. They thought he should just sat out.
I hate that logic. I really do.
I do too. If you're that good, an injury is not going to cause you to lose your career.
Yeah, and if you want to sit out of football for a whole year, ask Des Bryant or maybe even Le'Veon Bell how that works for you. Stay on the field.
Hey, we'll see. Don't be 260.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to get a brand new Vontae Leach at fullback. Nah, the difference is Vontae Leach, the Hall of Famer.
Anyways, with the 9th pick in the NFL draft, the Buffalo Bills select wide receiver N'Keal Harry. Me too.
Wide receiver 1. Receiver 1.
I had to do it. I don't want to give him a wide receiver just because I hate Josh Allen, but you have to. Bills desperately need an outside wide receiver to definitely get you a get up and go get it type of ball guy, and N'Keal Harry to match that strong arm of Josh Allen. Best receiver, I think, in the draft. And so I think this is the pick for them.
And this guy doesn't have much needed that scouts are looking for besides his speed to get separation against defensive backs. So, I mean, that's the only thing they're going to be watching is his 40 time and most likely his Conjo going into the combine. But this dude's the whole package. He has everything you want. And watching him at ASU, Richie can speak and attest to this.
And Austin.
Richie's pretty ISU, man.
Man, Austin's an alumnus.
Thank you.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
Skyler didn't go to college. He doesn't know.
I know. His peanut-sized brain. I'm a Missouri guy. Who's Drew Lock, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
He hasn't been drafted yet.
N'Keal Harry's everything you want, though. Everyone is trying to say that he's no better than a Josh Doxson or a Laquan Treadwell because he can't separate, but I really don't understand how people can watch his tape and say, well, he doesn't separate, but yet when he's running down the sidelines, he's pulling away from defenders. He doesn't have
Richie, how do you feel about Mike Williams comparisons?
That is way more spot on. 10 times more accurate. But let's move on. The 10th pick is the Denver Broncos, and they're not taking Drew Lock. However, I do want to be very, very clear about this. They absolutely can take Drew Lock despite the fact that they just traded for Joe Flacco. That is 100% within the realm of possibilities. We all have heard that the Broncos love Lock. Flacco's not a long-term solution. It'd be smarter for them to draft Locke and develop him because he's going to need time to develop. But at the same time, you really need a linebacker. Your defense is a strong suit. You're in a very powerhouse-heavy division for offense, and the AFC it's top-heavy. You got like 3 or 4 teams at the top. Denver could sneak into that conversation if they draft Devin White, the linebacker from Louisiana State University.
Best linebacker in this draft by far, at least for me. No surprise he goes top 10 here. I wish he would fall number 20 to my Steelers. That's definitely not going to happen.
No.
I've seen Ryan
Hey, he could
Chase
smoke
year.
pot and then drop.
Hey, true.
Calvin
Brandon
Johnson
Gregory.
smoked pot. He still went fucking
Laramie
second overall.
Larry Johnson, Jesus.
Calvin Johnson, not Larry Johnson.
I see Devin White get a lot of Ryan Shazier comps, and I see it. He's a fast linebacker. He plays like his hair's on fire, even though Ryan Shazier didn't have any hair.
Or eyebrows.
Yeah, he flies to the football. He can get after the passer. And in today's league, you need middle linebackers who can rush the passer, and he definitely fits that mold. So he's more of your modern day, fast, athletic middle linebacker as opposed to the prototypical, big like 6'5", 6'6" Brian Urlacher type linebackers.
He's just so instinctive. He's like a Miles Jack clone.
Oh, Miles Jack, if only you didn't have that degenerative knee issue.
At least he's playing good now. We just won't have him for long.
Yes, he is playing good ball in Jacksonville.
Here's the bright side. If Miles Jack can have one more good year, he's probably a Hall of Famer.
No. Richie.
But guys, that's all it takes now is 2 good years.
Anyways.
Oh, my God.
With the 11th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals will select Drew Lock, quarterback out of Missouri. If the Broncos don't take Drew Lock, I'm almost certain that the Bengals will. So I'm pretty impressed with his footwork. He has a really good raw arm. It's just from power to finessing balls in the certain spots on the field, just like his ball placement in the red zone, things like that. A super high football IQ. You can tell he loves the game. He has a franchise quarterback personality. I think he might be the best pro-ready quarterback out of this draft class.
Yes.
I know a lot of people are saying that Dwayne Haskins almost fits that mold. I'll go outside with Drew Lock here. He's not super crazy athletic, but he can use his legs to move and extend plays out of the pocket. I think Andy Dalton is seeing the final days of his career in Cincinnati starting to come to a close. I think you could draft Lock, send him right away. If the Bengals start, flopping, I think you can put him in with no consequence, kind of like Baker did last year. He went in due to injury, but no, he's going to have guys like Joe Mixon, AJ Green work around, so not a bad group of guys to start your career with.
Well, and the bright side is this is going to be Zach Taylor's guy. A brand new head coach. They finally moved on from Marvin Lewis, as sad as that news was for me and Donnie. But the bright side for the Bengals is you're getting a very young offensive mind who's worked with Sean McVay, and that's all we have to say at this point. But getting him a quarterback that he can begin to develop with this early into his coaching career is going to be very important. And Dalton is serviceable to get them a few wins this year and keep Taylor off of the hot seat. If it's a very good draft class in 2020, you could start Dalton for 14 to 16 games, and if you go 8-8. That's not a bad season. If anything, you're getting more value from Dalton when you go to trade him. And then you're establishing a winning foundation of, wow, this guy took a really bad Bengals team and got him to 500. Or, maybe you just tank and you have a terrible season. Well, now you have a top 5 pick in 2020, which is a loaded draft class. There's really not a lose-lose scenario here. If they take Locke, they can develop him. They can put him on the field. Whatever you want to do, it's a great way for Zach Taylor to really get his footing in Cincy.
Yeah, I love the pick of Drew Lock fitting in there with Zach Stacy.
Thank you.
I think the two of them are going to do just fine. Bad news is that's bad news for the Steelers and Ravens.
All right. So with the number 12, with the 12th pick in the NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select
Don't fuck
edge
this
rusher
up.
I'm gonna
Don't
fuck
fuck
up the
this up.
name. Lynn Farrell.
Clelin
Wow. Wow.
that right?
Clelin Farrell.
Cleland. I can't figure out how to pronounce it. Cleland?
It's Cleland.
Cleland.
Oh my God.
Cleland
I knew I
Farrell.
screwed up. Anyways,
It's Furl, actually. It's Cleland Furl. It's
that
not even.
Farrell?
It's not even Farrell. No, it's Furl.
Wow.
Cleland Furl.
This is almost as bad as the Tua from last year.
It's better than Celine.
Yeah, I don't
Shower.
know how you got Celine Shower.
Yeah, shower.
Anyways,
Shower
Green Bay
butthead.
Packers get an awesome edge rusher, and I'm gonna butcher it. Anyways, they get a great edge rusher, and Packers need it in the worst way possible. Their defense is aging. They're getting better on the secondary, but it's time for their linebackers and edges up front just to be able to get after the pass rusher and really make this defense dominant when they went back to the Super Bowl when they had a young Clay Matthews.
I think, in general, our defense is way on the younger side, not on the aging side. But I think we desperately need somebody to go, and dare I say it, next to Kyler Fackrell. Kyler had a great breakout year. The defense as a whole put up 40 some odd sacks and was up there in the league. But in terms of winning on their one-on-one battles, it was all schematic sacks by Pettin. So I think any edge rusher here, whether it be him, whether it be Polite, whether it be Sweat, whether it be Burns, I think Burns would be more of a pick 30 range. But whether it be any of them, or even if Ed Oliver slips and have him play outside linebacker, I think anybody can plug in and play there.
I think Furl has turned into a guy that we almost look at the production he had in college and we look past it. Like what Harold Landry did. We just look and we're like, wow, that's absolutely outstanding. But what about A, B, and C? The bright side for Furl is he's going to stay in the first round. He's probably going to stay in the top 15. But this guy is just a ridiculously productive player on a very talented defensive line in Clemson. But he probably is head and shoulders better than the rest. He has legitimate claim to a top 10 pick. All right.
Anyways, with the 13th pick in the NFL draft, the Miami Dolphins select QB Daniel Jones out of Duke. Basically, I feel like we're all in consensus here that Daniel Jones reminds us all of Ryan Tannehill. So they're going to go from Ryan Tannehill to Ryan Tannehill and continue on letting the Patriots win more Super Bowls due to their mediocrity for the next 15 years. But they have to go with Daniel Jones. He's the best QB on the board. Correct me if I'm wrong. They did release Tannehill already, or they're about to release Tannehill?
As far as I know, he's still on the roster.
Yeah, technically he's still on the roster. Reports came out a few weeks ago that they were planning on moving on from him. They haven't announced anything yet, and technically they can't make any transactions for a couple more days. So for now he's on the roster, but a lot of people expect him not to be.
Gotcha. Well, anyways, I think Daniel Jones is the best QB left after the other three QBs go. So I think that's the pick for the Miami Dolphins to try and bring their franchise back into relevancy after the last few years of being not bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Daniel Jones definitely is a Ryan Tannehill clone, but maybe you can move on from your missteps with Tannehill and do something better with Jones. I don't know. I'm not huge on the pick, but at the end of the day, when you need a quarterback, you need a quarterback. You're going to talk yourself into Daniel Jones.
True.
Yep, they're going to reach for him just to say they got their QB.
Exactly. So now the 14th pick is owned by the Falcons, and the Falcons are going to take my honey, my sweetie, my love of my life in this draft. He is my Harold Landry this year, ladies and gentlemen. Mississippi State's Montez Sweat.
Ooh.
Sweat.
And
Sweat.
I'm getting sweaty just thinking about how hot I am for this guy.
Easy.
Hey, I'd love him at 12.
I would love him at 22 if he could fall there. Montez Sweat is an animal. The dude is a complete freak of an athlete, just built in the tone of a Greek god, and has the ability to get after the passer at such a high rate. And it's just, he's terrifying off the edge. Him and Jeffrey Simmons put the fear of God into SEC opponents during their time at Mississippi State together. More than anything, I was not big on Leonard Floyd when he came out of Georgia, and he's had a solid career when he's healthy. Montez Sweat is a more polished Leonard Floyd. So if, Leonard Floyd's best season was 7 sacks, I'm telling you that's Montez's floor is 7 sacks.
And you guys had to watch him at the
the Senior Bowl.
The Senior Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you guys couldn't stop gushing about him, getting to watch him in the drills.
Yeah, I got to stand next to him and shake his hand, and I thought I was looking up at a monster.
Damn. But you were.
Yeah,
man.
He's 6'6", but I swear I thought he was bigger than Shaq.
Did he take your cookies?
He did not take my pinkies. He took my heart, though.
Oh, I said cookies, not pinkies.
Why would he take my cookies?
Cookie monster.
He's not a cookie monster. Stop being racist.
He's a skag monster.
All right, who's picking next, retard?
All right. With the 15th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins took Brian Burns, edge out of Florida State. For my money, I think he's the most underrated edge rusher in the first round. He's a monster. He's a monster off the edge. He could stand up as an edge rusher, which is so, pivotal. Excuse me, not only for him going through the draft process and being able to play in multiple schemes, but, for whatever reason, you get a new defensive coordinator and he wants to change things around, you could certainly slide him in there and not have to worry. Just put him opposite of Ryan Kerrigan, and I think the Redskins will have, they'll keep par with that great NFC East pass rush that whole entire division has. Really just a no-brainer pick for me here.
This has got to be a decision that the front office has to make. You see 4 quarterbacks are off the board. Yes, like we just talked about with Jones, you could probably talk yourself into a quarterback here. You could say, you know what, maybe we can make Will Grier into something, or Ryan Finley, or Clayton Thorson.
Jared Stidham,
exactly. You can
yes.
Jason Statham is an awesome actor. You could talk yourself into these guys. But if the Redskins want to start turning themselves into a consistent joke every year, we can take them seriously for about half the year, and then the other half, it's like, you guys really made us think you were going to win a division. That's adorable. But you're losing Preston Smith, most likely in free agency. You already lost Trent Murphy. You have a phenomenal front three with Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and of course, now I can't remember his name. We'll get back to him. He's the white guy. He's actually really good. But
Kerrigan?
No, on the actual defensive line. He's their 5 tech. But Kerrigan's outstanding at outside linebacker, but he is 30. Getting Burns. Kerrigan's got at least one more year.
No, he's not. You're right. You're right.
Preston Smith is the guy leaving.
Yes.
But Burns is so athletically toned. He's probably only like 225 or 230 pounds, so you can add so much weight to that frame. But he is so damn fast. He is the best ball of clay in this draft. You can just mold him into whatever you want.
All right. With the 16th pick in the NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select offensive lineman Jonah Williams from Alabama. This is a great pick for them. For Jonah Williams to fall this far is a great thing for them, especially when the Carolina Panthers need to get more help for Cam Newton to stay upright. And Jonah Williams, you can put him anywhere, guard, tackle, and he's going to get the job done. Who cares about his short arms? Everyone says the dude's a monster and will protect your quarterback.
Well, I think that's the only reason why he could fall that far is if people start to question, is he a guard or is he a tackle? I think that could really hurt his draft stock if nobody knows what he's really defined as an NFL player.
It totally shouldn't, no. It totally shouldn't.
It should. I don't know how many times I heard somebody say, oh, they can play all 4 spots or all 5 spots of the offensive line, and they're not good at a single one. He can play them, but he's not good at any of them.
Man, Jonah Williams is a Pro Bowl left tackle, and he's Zach Martin if you want to put him at guard. Like, I understand that the whole argument of why play 5 spots when you can be good at 1. I understand that. Jonah Williams can play 5 spots and be elite at 5 spots. Jonah Williams, if he was 10 pounds heavier and maybe had a half-inch longer arms, he's talked about as the number 1 pick in this draft because the Cardinals need a tackle. Just like Oliver, everyone's overthinking Jonah Williams. This kid is the best tackle prospect we've seen since Joe Thomas. Quote me on that.
Quoted you.
All right. I'll put that next to the Leonard Fournette, Jim Brown comparison.
It's going to ring true one of these days.
It has to.
I am standing by that forever and ever. I will never regret that. I will never delete that off Twitter.
Hey, no, you're good, man. There's still a lot of time left.
Pin it, you won't.
He's
Wait,
got better
what?
things to pin.
Oh, Penn. Okay. I see what you did there, you friggin' hippie. All right. Who's next? Cleveland? Come on, Austin. What do you got?
All right, with the 17th pick in the NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns select DK Swole as fuck Metcalf.
Swole as fuck.
Beef calf.
I think that's what DK stands for, is swole as fuck.
I'm no alphabetist.
So yeah, I
Makes
think
sense.
I think this is a big-bodied receiver that can help Baker Mayfield really stretch the field. They got rid of Josh Gordon mid-season. They have Jarvis Landry, who's a great slot guy. They have, correct me if I'm, last name is Antonio. The other
Brown.
receiver no. The other receiver they drafted last year, that's a smaller guy. What's his name?
Oh,
Callahan?
Antonio Callaway.
Callaway, that's what it is. He had a great rookie season, especially with a rookie QB. I just think getting you the permanent presence on the sideline. DK will get you a lot more progression out of Baker Mayfield going into year 2.
Well, and you can slide Landry right back into his C spot in the slot with Callaway and DK outside, and Njoku at tight end. You just signed Kareem Hunt. You still have Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson, and I'm just going to soil my pants here, not only from being turned on, but from being terrified as a Ravens fan.
Well, and don't forget, their offensive line is pretty solid as well.
Yeah, they just re-upped with Greg Robinson, who had a solid year at tackle. Honestly, they could come around in the second round and still find a guy like Yanni Kajust to be their left tackle. Like, they are in such a good position here. Like, it's going to be really hard for them to screw it up, which is why I'm looking forward to it.
You want them to screw up, though, Richie.
Of course I do. For the first time in my life, I'm terrified of Cleveland.
And that's only because of that big bad boy Baker.
Baker, the touchdown maker. Nah, it's not even them. It's the front office. They hit a home run with all those hires. If anything, though, this is our great grandparents' Cleveland Browns. It's been a few generations since we've seen a good Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah, this is like segregation Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah, this is the Express. God, what was his name?
Jim Brown.
No, it was the other Syracuse running back. They drafted him to match with Jim Brown, but then he ended up dying right before he got a chance to play in the NFL. The Redskins refused to draft him because he was an African American, and it was 100% segregated.
Gale Sayers.
Ernie
Johnson.
No, I hate you so much. You know what? We'll figure it out later. I'm going to my pick. You guys suck.
Ernie Davis.
Yes, thank you. I can't believe you actually were helpful for once. Ernie Davis, the Express. That's how long ago it was. 1962. That's the last time the Browns were good. My dad wasn't even born yet. Okay, so 18th pick is the Minnesota Vikings. And guys, every year we pick out a few players and we go, you know what? This player is perfect for that team. Dalton Risner is a Minnesota Viking. Just put it in ink. This guy, Austin, are you ready for this? Because I'm going to go and piss you off. He can play all 5 spots on the offensive line.
Oh, my Jesus.
No, you can play him at right tackle if you want, or you can put him at guard and let him dominate. You put him on the inside shoulder of your tackle, and he's just going to be a mauler. Me and Donnie watched him all week at the Senior Bowl, just putting defensive linemen on their ass in the turf and then screaming like the fucking barbarian that he is.
Yeah, he took on Montez Sweat one rep and just obliterated him, man.
There were more than a few defensive linemen who tried to step up to Risner's level, and he just punished them. And the Vikings need that. Dalvin Cook needs that. They need that kind of
even their
guy.
running back.
Logan's going to hear this, and he's going to get upset.
I had a lengthy conversation with Logan about Dalvin Cook on Saturday.
I love Dalvin Cook. Nonetheless,
When he's healthy.
they need Risner to match with Elflane and the rest of that garbage offensive line. Risner's a smart pick here. He's not a high upside tackle, but he is a great guard, and that's exactly where they should put him at the next level.
Kirk Cousins definitely needs the help up front. Their offensive line was atrocious last year.
Just think about it, guys. He was so close to signing with Arizona. He wouldn't have had to worry about that horrible Vikings line.
Exactly. He would have been so much better off.
All I got to do is change the color of the helmet, my man. That's it.
No.
All right. Well, with the 19th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, your Tennessee Titans select Dexter Lawrence, defensive lineman, Clemson. Great run support interior lineman for Clemson. Clemson is known for their front four, and he's probably one of the best players out of there. Obviously, he's being talked about in the first round. Super athletic for a guy who's 6'4", around 340, 350, I believe. I just think the Titans go best player available on the defensive side of the ball. I think he's super versatile, and he can make a difference in day one and keep the Titans competitive in a division that kind of seems to be slipping away from them.
This is a nose tackle who reminds me a lot of another former Tennessee Titan who sold his soul for $100 million to the Washington Redskins. Albert Hainsworth. And like the Tennessee Titans, Albert Hainsworth, though. This is the guy I see Dexter Lawrence being. Dexter Lawrence, if he's not smoking pot and being a immature kid, he's got some maturing to do, but you match him and Jarrell Casey on that defensive line together, and they can find some kind of outside pass rush next to Harold Landry, and that front seven's ferocious. So we can't forget they still have their linebacker they drafted last year in the first round from Alabama, and I can't think of his name. I am not very good at my job.
Nope.
You have a job?
Not a very good one, apparently. Rashaan Evans. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Putting Dexter Lawrence at that zero tech for them and lining him up over the A gap is going to give them such a huge advantage in a AFC South that has established quarterbacks, especially with Kyler Murray going to the Jaguars now. You're going to need to be able to get through those centers. And like I mentioned earlier, the fastest way to the quarterback is right up the center. Dexter Lawrence is going to be really good at that. I think he could be a Daron Payne kind of guy and surprise us with 5 or 6 sacks as a rookie nose tackle.
That would be impressive.
Indeed. So Skyler is up with the Steelers.
Ooh, man, I've had to pick 2 of our Pylon to Pylon podcast people's picks. This is going to be fun. With the 20th pick in the NFL draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select edge rusher Joshie Polite. Jaikai. See, I can't pronounce half these names. But Steelers definitely need a pass rusher. Not a bad defense. They just need a couple.
We led the league in sacks the last 2 seasons.
Sorry. The Steelers just need to. They're not a solid defense. They're not like the Steelers defense we've seen in the past, like the wall and whatnot. I cannot steel curtain. I am literally going brain dead tonight. Sorry, guys. But adding this.
What did you eat for dinner?
Yeah,
Mexican. I'm lethargic. I ate Mexican food.
Bless your heart.
But they definitely need edge rusher in the worst way. All right, I'm going Braden. Someone take over for me. I'm going Braden on this pick.
I'll go ahead and jump in on this. Look, TJ Watt's fantastic. He's not the elite edge rusher that the Steelers need. He is the elite linebacker that can kind of play all over for them. He can jump into coverage just as well as he can rush the passer, just as well as he can just force a play, block a kick, force any kind of turnover. But Bud Dupree has not been what they hoped he would be. And we can count a ridiculous amount of other failed pass rushing prospects that they've had. So Jai-Kai Polite exactly. Just to rub that in the Donnie's face there. Jai-Kai Polite is like a Melvin Ingram kind of player. He's stocky. He's not tall. He's not lengthy, but he's just compact and built. And at the end of the day, if you can get to the quarterback and generate pressure, you're going to be good at the NFL level. I think the Steelers have tried to go for the athlete too many times. And Bud Dupree is the perfect example of that. He was the physical specimen, but he didn't turn into anything. Jai-Kai Polite is still an athlete, but he's the production that the Steelers need. And having him and TJ Watt lined up outside of each other is terrifying.
Be a formidable linebacking core once again.
Yeah,
be something you need with Lamar Jackson running amok now.
Ooh, that fool. That outside contain though.
With the 21st pick in the NFL draft, the Seattle Seahawks draft their replacement for Earl Thomas, safety Taylor Rapp. I think this is the not necessarily a no-brainer pick here, but definitely something the Seahawks are going to be looking at is replacing Earl Thomas in that former Legion of Boom defense. This is the best safety in this class. Deontay Thompson is one of the names that could also be considered here, but I don't think he did himself any favors in the NCAA championship game. Oh
my goodness, the fall that he has had is insane.
They're saying he might not even be a first-round pick now, man. He went from top 10 to lucky to be a 32nd, top 32 pick.
He'd be lucky to be the fourth safety taken.
Yeah, because Nasir Adderley had a solid Senior Bowl. And who's the other safety that had a...
Oh, we'll talk about him later. It's my guy. It's that crazy motherfucker that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Oh, I know you love Nasir. Herb's nephew? Herb Adderley's nephew?
Yes, he is Herb Adderley's nephew in the Hall of Fame with... who is it, bud?
Oh, I don't know, like some green and yellow, stupid-looking team.
Terrell Davis.
Yes, that team. The Terrell Davis, the TDs. But anyways, I think Taylor Rapp is the pick here. Give yourself a safety that you can start to rebuild a new Legion of Boom around and prepare for the future without Earl Thomas.
I think Rapp is the kind of guy who's going to get your locker room hyped up again. He's not that trash talker, but he's definitely the rah-rah guy. And Seattle is not going to have Earl Thomas. They don't have Sherman. They don't have Chancellor. They don't have Bennett. They don't have Averill. They're going to lose KJ Wright. They need a complete makeover on this defense.
They do.
You're probably gonna tag Frank Clark. Great, he's a complete asshole person, but he is a good player. And you still have Bobby Wagner. But outside of that, you just really need to start building all over. They have Jaron Reed, like my favorite nose tackle ever.
Hey, I really like the cornerback Griffin that they had, not the linebacker.
Yes, Shaquille. They do have Shaquille.
Yes,
Shaquille and Shaquem.
Yes, I love Shaquille.
Taylor Rapp is going to put the boom back in that Legion of Boom, baby.
Mm-hmm.
So how about this? Richie gets the pick for his own Baltimore Ravens here. And boys, with the release of Michael Crabtree, maybe now the Ravens have a need at wide receiver. I feel like we've never had a need for receiver before, but now feels like the time.
Finally.
I mean, we've just always had great receivers like Hines Ward and Antonio Brown and Emmanuel Sanders and Mike Wallace and Santonio Holmes.
Schuster.
Exactly.
Damn, Richie, you guys got great receivers.
You know what? I'm thinking of the Steelers. I'm sorry. I forgot that we have guys like Chris Moore and Jaleel Scott and Jordan Lastly.
Who?
And Aaron Millay.
Who?
I'm crying. But that's okay because with DK
Torrey
Metcalf
Smith.
and with you back the fuck off right now. I will fuck you up. That is my guy. Torrey Smith is my guy.
That is not on the Ravens.
Swear, I will come through this Skype call and kill you. Do not ever trash talk Torrey Smith. That man is a saint. Before you even get to say another word, though, we're going to go over and add a little bit of spark and some dazzle and some Hollywood into the Ravens offense and grab Marquise Hollywood Brown, the most electric player from college football a season ago. Brown's
Never be on the Ravens offense.
Yeah, blow me. Marquise Brown has a Lisfranc injury that he's going to be getting surgery for. So he is going to be held back a little bit. He's not going to run during the process. So part of this scares me a little bit in the sense of, wow, this kind of seems like John Ross all over again. No. The difference here is Marquise Brown is a far more complete receiver and can do so much more than what John Ross was able to do. John Ross was a absolute fantastic player. I was a huge John Ross fan. I liked him more than Corey Davis. But he fit a system perfectly. Marquise Brown was able to become best friends with his quarterbacks. And he was just so good with the ball in the open field. Maybe this is a little bit of blasphemy here, but he looks like Tyreek Hill.
Really? You're going to put the Tyreek Hill tag on him?
Without the off field, yes. I think that Hollywood Brown is that kind of player that the NFL is just going to gravitate to and be like, we got to get this guy in the highlight film every week. Every time you put the ball in his hands, he's going to do something. And, with the Ravens, they're not going to throw the ball a lot. So maybe as a rookie, Marquise Brown only has 40 catches. But he just turned that into almost 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's the kind of guy that he is. He's not going to be the 100-catch guy. He's going to be the big play guy. He's going to be you're going to throw a bubble screen to him, and he's going to take it 36 yards and get you a crucial first down. He's going to burn a guy down the sidelines for a 52-yard touchdown. He's just going to find little creases in the defense and make it work.
Well, all right. With the 23rd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle from Florida State. This is all kind of coming down to getting Deshaun Watson. I believe is the most sacked quarterback last year. Can anybody confirm?
That is confirmed. He got sacked almost 60 times.
Okay, yeah, it's just ridiculous that, and he's not able to stay healthy probably because of that. Jawan can also help on the rushing side of the football as well. The Texans may look to go get another running back besides Lamar Miller, but that's besides the point. Here I think they go best pass blocker available, and Jawan Taylor kind of fits that mold. He's not super impressive, like nothing that just jumps off of the page. I know his frame kind of screams guard for some people. I think the Texans will draft him, and I just think they shot him at the tackle and hopefully get Deshaun Watson, their franchise quarterback, some protection going forward.
Yeah, that team desperately needs O-line help to
really
build Deshaun Watson. He's already got, 2 torn ACLs? Technically, because he had one in college and one in the pros?
2 torn ACLs. I'm not even going to say he's injury prone. Like, they're both freak accidents. Other than that, he's been fine, but it's just, you worry he takes one more bad hit to that knee. The bright side with Taylor, I don't know if you guys have heard this, he's getting top 10 hype.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, he's legitimately one of those guys that's just going to test really well. He's so big and strong and long. He's just a specimen. But at the end of the day, you can kind of throw that left tackle, right tackle flag out the window because both tackle spots are valuable today in the NFL. And, maybe he's not fluid enough to play left, but that's a mauler on the right side. Look how important guys like Lane Johnson and Mitchell Schwartz are to their offensive lines. Playing on the right side doesn't mean you're lesser than a left tackle.
Yes, you're still protecting your franchise QB.
Exactly. And Taylor can do that at a very high level.
All right. With the 24th pick in the NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select DeAndre Baker, cornerback. definitely need the help in the secondary in the worst way. The Raiders got burnt all year. Their defense is really a mess and in rebuild mode. A guy like DeAndre Baker, he can play outside, plays inside. Really great ball awareness as well. This is a guy that the Raiders definitely need in their defense to really solidify it.
Baker is he's going to mug you at the line of scrimmage. He is so mean, but he's got the size too. And with a healthy Gary and Conley and Baker established the most underrated corner duo in the entire NFL with youth and talent and just speed, instincts, everything. Those two are going to bring it for the Raiders if they're both healthy. That would be one of my favorite corner combinations in the league.
Yeah, I like the pick of Baker here. I think it's definitely something the Raiders need. You got off this mock, you got Gary at 4. You bolster that pass rush. Now you go get a guy that is big, lengthy, and can run with boundary receivers and hopefully take advantage of that pass rush.
Yeah, no, this definitely seems like an Austin Frizzoco kind of pick.
Really? Why is that?
Oh, I don't know. Anyway, speaking of Austin Frizzoco.
What, is it my turn?
Oh, it is.
Wow, I feel so special. Anyways, with the 25th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select cornerback Byron Murphy. This Eagles team last year, we saw them get, I think, decimated is putting it nice for their cornerback position group because they were running their 5th and 6th string starters at one point during the season. Your best corner is going to be a free agent after the season. Darby? No. I get him and the Buffalo Bills corner mixed up all the time. I want to say it's Ronald Darby.
I think that Murphy is going to get that same tag that Denzel Ward got, but he's not going to get the same amount of love because he's just so savvy. And I think that he is a very, very smart player. And he's smaller, but it's not going to be that big a deal in my opinion. I think he's going to be a stud.
Yeah, I think he could potentially go where Baker goes. And even possibly a little bit higher. It just depends what you view in a cornerback coming out and how he tests in the next upcoming week. It's going to be really nice to see him and Baker and also Greedy Williams going at it in the combine drills.
Exactly. So now I'll be picking for the Indianapolis Colts here, and I'm going to go ahead and assign them Christian Wilkins. And Wilkins is 100% the kind of player that the Colts are going to want, need, and he just fits the culture that they're starting to establish there of just strong veteran leaders who can do so much more for you than you would think. And Wilkins has been so overlooked up and down. I remember going into the 2018 draft, right after the 2017 draft, when we were looking ahead one year, Wilkins was talked about as a number 1 pick kind of player.
Yeah. And
he just got overlooked and everyone kind of slept on him. And then he comes back to school and it's like, oh, why would you do that? You're only hurting your stock. And then the whole year, we're sitting there talking, oh man, yeah, he's probably only a 2nd or 3rd round player. And people sit down and they go, holy shit, man, we probably should have been watching him a little more because Christian Wilkins is pretty damn good. And the Colts want football players. And the Colts are going to want guys who, maybe Christian Wilkins isn't a 10-time Pro Bowler, but maybe Christian Wilkins is a 10-time top 10 defensive lineman in the NFL every year.
Double-digit sack every year.
Wilkins is the guy who's just going to really become the leader on the defense that they need. Wilkins is an underrated rah-rah guy for them. Wilkins is the best friend in that locker room everyone needs. He's the accountability guy. I saw a story, Deion Kane, the wide receiver for Clemson a year ago when he got drafted by the Colts in the 6th round. During his time at Clemson, he got suspended during his freshman year and was having some big issues. Wilkins stepped up and said, hey, let me room with him. Let me become a mentor for him. And Kane has become a model citizen. He's become a very classy, well-spoken young man. But how much does that speak to Wilkins' character? That is one of the most underrated aspects when we start talking about draft prospects, is how strong their character is. And Wilkins is the guy that you would want to date your daughter.
Or son.
Yeah, no, we don't judge. We don't judge. We don't judge.
No judgment.
We're open. Hashtag me too.
Jesus. All right. With the 27th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select Josh Jacobs, running back out of Alabama. Raiders get their perennial 3-down running back here. Instead of paying Le'Veon Bell in free agency, they opt to go to the draft. Josh Jacobs came into 2018 with a lot of expectations, kind of play a 1-2 role with Damian Harris, but I think by the end of the year, Alabama saw how great Jacobs was and just force-fed him the ball. Like I said earlier, 3-down back, he do everything. He's good in pass protection. His hands are okay. He can go out. He can pass block for you and pass pro. He can run up the middle. He can bounce it off to the outside. I don't see anything wrong with this game. Nothing at all. So, the Raiders get their bona fide running back that they thought they got in Darren McFadden here in Josh Jacobs.
Oh, McFadden, if he had stayed healthy, was that kind of guy, too.
Run DMC.
It's okay. Now we got Run CMC.
True.
Jacobs is a stud, though. Everyone's saying that he's kind of Alvin Kamara. He's not fast. I think he's meaner, though.
Oh, dude, he's a freaking worker. He's a worker. He's a bell cow of a running back.
He's got an awesome story, too. You guys should definitely take a look at his background story and how he grew up and everything. It's remarkable.
I do want to point out, though, I think if he's sitting there at 27, the Raiders should be ecstatic. Richie, your boy, Matt Miller, just the other day had him at number 5 overall prospects. Not just number 5 like running back, but in this draft, the 5th best player.
I think everyone is kind of catching on to Josh Jacobs late in the process. He was kind of talked about the last 2 years, I feel like, as a really underrated guy, because I remember being pointed out to him at least a year, if not, like I said, 2 years ago. And I was like, okay, well, he seems like he's a receiver kind of guy. We'll keep an eye on that. And I knew who Jacobs was, and, you'd watch him and you'd be impressed. And this whole the playoff, he blew up. Historically for Alabama, they feed the ball to their seniors, and then come bowl game time, they start giving it to the young buck. But instead of giving the ball to the monstrous man that they have in Najee Harris, they start giving it to Josh Jacobs, and he blows up. And look at this. Now everyone is talking about him as this can't-miss running back prospect who does literally everything for you.
All right. With the 28th pick in the NFL Draft, the LA Chargers select offensive guard Cody Ford. And they need this in the worst way. The Chargers' offensive line got manhandled against the Patriots in the playoffs. And we're really keeping Phillip Rivers up all year, and they definitely just need some help. Forrest Lamp is already there. They just need to get the offensive line younger and just more stable.
Yeah, they need Lamb to get healthy, and honestly, it's not looking like he's even going to be the player they hoped he would be back at Western Kentucky. The bright side is Cody Ford's a monster. You could probably get away with putting him at tackle, but Lamp would be better out there. And honestly, at the end of the day, the philosophy that I love is it doesn't matter where they play. Put your 5 best offensive linemen on the field. And that's what you would be doing with Cody Ford. Yeah, maybe you have 3 offensive guards now with Ford, Feeney, and Lamp. Just put them on the field. They're 3 of your 5 best offensive linemen. Find a spot for them. Because if you want to prolong Phillip Rivers' career and you want to keep your playoff window open, you just need to have guys who can keep him standing up.
With the 29th pick in the NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Jonathan Abram, safety of Texas A&M.
Oh, baby.
I know.
Yeah,
This guy next to Eric Berry. Oh, my Jesus.
That's my boy. That's
you want to talk about somebody who lays the fucking hammer down. This is your guy.
Oh, and it doesn't matter who he plays for either. He can play for your team, and he's gonna knock you the fuck out.
Yeah, this guy is a I'm just gonna hit the fuck out of you, and you're gonna enjoy it type of guy. He reminds me a lot of Cam Chancellor in his size and the way he just wants to kill you on the field. I think this is the perfect fitting next to Eric Berry, especially with the corners that have already gone off the board. Rather than reaching and taking a corner, they're going to take a safety that they can pair next to Eric Berry.
Even if they end up moving on from Eric Berry, Abram is the perfect replacement. You guys, I alluded to it. This guy got kicked out and canceled one of his own team's spring training scrimmage games because he hit his own running back so hard his helmet flew off. This guy got ejected for targeting twice last year and is consistently a mean motherfucker to the point where maybe he's dirty, honestly. But you know what? You love the dirty player who plays for your team. A lot of people hate Terrell Suggs. I love Terrell Suggs. If Terrell Suggs played for any team that wasn't mine, maybe I'm not his biggest fan. You could say the same for... But that's not the point. You could say the same for James Harrison. I hate James Harrison, but if James Harrison was playing for my team, maybe I see it differently. Jonathan Abram's going to be that guy where you're like, that guy is an asshole. But then I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say, would you take him on your team? And you go, absolutely. He does everything. Jonathan Abram is the top safety in this class. Okay, Skylar, please just go away forever. I love Abram. I love Abram. I love Abram.
I love.
Sounds like you're saying I love a broom.
I love Abram the same way that I love a lamp.
Oh.
And not just because I saw it.
Oh.
Abram is my guy. So this is going to be my last pick here. It's the Green Bay Packers. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think a tight end is a huge need for the Packers, considering the only time we've really seen a tight end dominate for them during the Aaron Rodgers era was Jermichael Finley. And while his career was unfortunately cut short, I feel like they haven't tried to replace him because Rodgers doesn't need him. But when you have a guy like TJ Hawkinson sitting on the board, you got to take him. Hawkinson does everything.
If Hawkinson is there at 30, I'm shitting bricks.
TJ Hawkinson, yeah, exactly. It's a good thing, right?
Yes, it's a great thing. I would be ecstatic if Hawkinson is there at 30.
If you walked away from this draft in the first round with Cleveland Ferrell and TJ Hawkinson, I don't see how you can be mad.
And then snatch up David Montgomery in the second or third round?
There you go.
Boom.
Hawkinson's awesome, though. You saw what George Kittle did last year. Hawkinson is probably a better all-around guy, just not as fast.
I think Hawkinson will show you wrong. I think he's going to run great at the combine.
Oh, I just don't think he's as fast as Kittle. I think he's a better tight end than Kittle, though. I think Hawkinson is just outstanding. Putting him in Green Bay, you're going to get what you hoped you would have gotten with Jimmy Graham. He's going to be what Jimmy Graham was 5 years ago.
Well, him and Jimmy Graham together, it would be allowing Jimmy Graham to work more so out of the slot or on the boundary and not have to be in line when everybody knows, okay, you're in line, you're running around, you're not pass blocking.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the bright side. And Hawkinson can block.
Yes, Hawkinson's the best blocking tight end in this draft. Is built like freaking Gronk at 6'5", 260, and like you said, can run just like 5 years ago Jimmy Graham. So I think this is literally a specimen tight end that if the Packers snatch it at 30, they should be running to that podium at 30 if he's there. They may take him at 12. From things that I'm hearing, it would not be outlandish for him to go at 12.
Well, I mean, let's not forget the tight end he played next to, Noah Fant. He's no Bush League football player either. He was widely considered to be the best tight end going into the draft class before Hawkinson kind of took over. So, it's not like he played with a bunch of scrubs over at Iowa. I mean, those guys play physical football over at Iowa. But no, I completely agree with everything you guys said. So the 31st pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Super Bowl runner-up, Los Angeles Rams select safety Nasir Adderley out of Delaware.
Will he be allowed to wear the number 3?
To be determined. Sources tell me no, but we shall see. I'm sure you can change it on Madden 20 if you want.
Can you highlight your sources, please?
Yeah, Wikipedia.
Oh, that's a pretty good source.
Thank you.
It's almost as good as Skyler.
Nasir Adderley's a really rangy guy. Me and Richie had the opportunity to go watch him down in Mobile. Initially, I didn't think super highly of him like everybody else did, just from watching him on the one-on-one drills. And then Richie pointed out to me, hey, he's a safety. Don't stress too much on the one-on-ones. And then whenever the team portions of practice got together, Nasir took over. He was blowing plays up left and right. He's making really good reads on the ball. And whenever you watch him play at Delaware, he's kind of I don't want to disrespect him whenever I compare him to him, but I think he might be a little Ed Reed-esque, to be honest. Just in terms.
No.
Just in terms of instincts.
No.
That's it.
You could have said Eric Weddle, and I would have been taken back a little bit. You just compared him to the greatest safety to ever play the game.
That's cute.
That's cute. Huh? That's cute.
Yeah, Troy Polamalu was going to say a prayer to have a talk with you about that. So
the only thing Polamalu was better at than Reed was getting injured.
Wow. And great hair.
All right, he had great hair. I'll give you that.
All right, I will retract my Ed Reed comp until I find a better one per sources. But Adderley's a rangy guy. The Rams are going to have to pay a lot of people, so we might see some of their secondary deplete. I think he could take over John Johnson's role easily. Hopefully help the Rams secondary. Kind of stop Tom Brady, maybe. That might be an option.
Well, he doesn't play offense, so it's not going to help them that much.
Ooh.
Skyler, what do you think of the pick? You're awfully quiet over there as our Rams analyst.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've been seeing a lot of mock drafts where he goes to the Rams. The Rams were talking with him at the Senior Bowl, I was told. So I think it's a good place for them. And it wouldn't be Johnson he'd be replacing. It would be Joyner that he would be. It'd be a good pick. This guy fits right into the defense. Wade Phillips can do a lot with him. So I think it's a good spot for him. And with that, we can go on to the last pick. With the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots picking at 32, and they have not traded away their first-round pick. But they are selecting wide receiver Deebo Samuel. And I would hate for them to get Deebo for the reason that we could see another elite wide receiver on the Patriots and extend Tom Brady's career and maybe even another Super Bowl. But this would be a great fit with Josh McDaniels soon to take over the helm, presumably. Great route runner. We saw it at the Senior Bowl. Donnie Rich had nothing but awesome things to say about what he did. And even just looking at the tape, this dude was all over the field making catches, contested. He just does everything for you. And he's slowly growing up. We said not growing up, but going up the draft boards as we get closer to the combine and the NFL draft.
Yeah, Deebo has made himself the most money after the Senior Bowl. Being able to project himself from a second or third round pick to possibly end of round one. He definitely made the most money. He's got going. Continue that momentum into the combine.
Samuel was impressive the whole week at the Senior Bowl, as Donnie can attest. He is just definitely a guy who we're all going to overlook because of injuries, and he's a little Anquan Bolden-esque, man. I think he's a lot bigger than people realize, and he's quick. We'll see. He's going to be a steal. That's all I know.
True. All right, gentlemen, that caps our very first 2019 NFL mock draft. We will be doing a live one later down the road before the draft. We don't know who's going to be picked. It's all going to be live in real time. Hopefully, you guys can go ahead and join us for that. Up for the upcoming future, we're going to have a lot of great draft episodes coming, a lot of great NFL episodes coming. Excuse me. NFL episodes out every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. As for now, my name is Donnie Druin.
My name's Oscar Sissoko.
Richard Bradshaw.
And Skylar Burkhart.
So we usually are in person for this show. Everybody kind of gets like a physical cue. Until next time.
Wait. Where can they find us, Donnie?
What?
Where can they find us?
At your mom's.
Arizona.
Where can they find us?
They can find us on Twitter at the PTP Podcast. They can find us on Instagram for the same name as well. Facebook is just going to be the Pile on the Podcast. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Hit us up on Gmail, the PTP Podcast, gmail.com for any questions, comments, concerns, ideas. Anything else, boys, before we go?
Ed Reed is the greatest safety of all time.
You're funny. Okay, well, we're going to close out with that. Have a good night.